So now we will account for some stock investments. And the operative thing to keep in mind here is that how we account for it depends on how much control we have over the company that we've bought. So if we own less than 20% of the outstanding shares, we're going to use the cost method. And that's what we're going to be doing here. Future videos will cover the other two. Okay, so what we're doing with our stock investments is the other side of what we did in Chapter 11. In Chapter 11, companies issued stock and they paid dividends. And so here in Chapter 12, we are buying the stock that other companies have issued. So we're going to have stock investments and we're going to receive dividend revenue. So we have to keep in mind that we are in Chapter 12 now. Okay, so the main thing is each share that we own has a vote, and so we are going to be using the cost method because the example that I'm using here is only a 2% ownership. And I don't think it says that in the problem, but I just made that up. Okay, so let's just look at the example. We're going to, and I use the Kagan Corp here. And we're going to buy 1,000 shares for $40 a share, but there's a fee on it. So when we go to do that, we're going to go 1-1, and we're going to have a stock investment. And it's good to indicate that it is, 2%, because then you know that it's not using the equity method. And how much would it be? Well, we bought 1,000 shares times $40, so that's $40,000. But we also had to pay a $50 fee. So our cost base for that stock is going to be what we paid for the stock itself plus the fee. So that comes on the books at $40,050. Whoops, go down here. And we paid some cash. Okay, so on 4-1, we get a dividend of 50 cents a share. Okay, so this 4-1, we receive cash, and we're going to book some dividend revenue. Okay, so how much do we receive? Well, we had 1,000 shares, well, we have 1,000 shares, times 50 cents per share. That's going to be $500 in cash we get, and we'll book the revenue. Okay, now on 7-1, we're going to sell 300 of the shares for $43 a share. So 7-1, we know that we're going to get cash because we're selling them. And how much cash do we get? Well, we'll figure that over here. We're selling 300 shares times $43 a share, which would be $12,900, but we have to pay the fee, and that is deducted from our proceeds. So we end up with $12,880 cash in, or proceeds on it. So we would get $12,880 in cash, and then we know that our stock investment has to come off the books, and to arrive at a cost for that, we're simply going to take the total cost base, which was the $40,500. That's not right. We're going to take the total cost base, let me go over here with it anyway, of $40,050. Okay, and that's what we've got right on the books. We're going to multiply it by the percentage we sold, so we sold 300 out of 1,000 shares. And that gives us the cost base of what we sold, which is $12,015. Okay, so that's the cost base of the shares we sold. And then the difference, in this case, will be a gain on the sale of stock investments, okay, of the difference, which I believe is $865. Okay, so it's important to keep in mind how the transaction fees work here. And it makes sense if you think about it, because when you're buying the stock investment, you're paying out money, and you're going to have to pay out a little bit more money in the form of the fee that's on that transaction. So that increases the cost base of your stock investment. This is important because when you go to compute capital gains, if you don't include the fees, you would simply say, oh yeah, our cost was $40,000 and we sold it for, you know, all right, we can't do it that way, but say if without the transaction fees, you're going to end up paying more taxes than you otherwise would. When we sell it, you're going to be receiving cash, but the broker or whoever will be deducting the fee from that cash before you get it. So it'll be the $12,900, but they'll take off the $20 from the top in the form of the fee. Okay, so that's your basic cost method for stock investments. There's another example in the notes that I'll let you work through, and if you have questions on it, let me know. But the best thing to do is to just do a few of these, and they do start to make sense.